so excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
I believe Hernan said the mics are live. And they are. It is Two Guys and a Goalie here on Tuesday, June 17th. And for the first time all year, the Oilers face elimination.
Wow.
Tuesday, June 17th. Not in the first round, on the second round, on the third round. Here we are. Let's see what they're made of. Hey, Gager?
It's amazing that we're spoiled to have NHL hockey well into June, where everyone wants to be in.
I know.
We're in it.
As stressful as it is for some and how disappointing it is along the way and the rides, the ups and the downs, you could have been sitting here talking about the draft and free agency for 2 months. And instead, we're still sitting here.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say this thing goes 7, they win or lose or whatever. Next week, we're recapping it. The week after that, we're previewing free agency and then free agency.
Yeah.
And then it's like 7 weeks of summer and then camp opens. So
2 weeks of Marner talk.
Yeah. Oh man, there's going to be a lot
off season. What off season?
You're right. You're right, Cass.
What off season?
Yeah, we'll see how that. How are you doing, buddy? How you doing, Cass?
I'm good. Got the fresh cut. My regular barber was gone on vacation, and it was like I needed a cut. Like it was bad, and so had to get the fill in. And little different on the cut, but it still looks okay on here. Still looks okay on here.
It looks great. Don't say it looks okay. It looks great.
No, they up here was good. They kind of made these little points at the end of my beard that look a little different than I'm used to. And it's not that it's bad; it's just different. And so I just I always panic.
So you let them do the beard, hey?
So every once in a while I do. I don't do it every time.
Okay.
I do let them do the beard because it just gets unruly. Like, and I try to manage it myself, and I try to trim it and clean it up and make it look professional. But sometimes it just doesn't work. And I'm like, every once in a while, it's good. It's good to let one of the pros do it. But I will say that Nate was the name of the guy that filled in, and he was good with the razor. I'll say that much. Like. You can tell. I don't know if you guys have ever had like a hot shave or that sort of thing, because they'll do a little bit of a hot shave around the edges. They won't do the whole thing, but like they'll when they clean you up, uses the straight edge razor, and that's nice. I mean, it's a nice thing. I like it. Feels nice.
Because you must have had a hot shave in the past, eh?
No.
I was going to ask you something. You had a hot shave.
No.
Gager, you should do one for your whole head, man. Do like the hot shave, like that'd be great.
My mother-in-law bought me one of those head shavers now with you just go like this.
Oh, is that the one that
it's pretty nice.
Does it tickle?
No, but I'm just worried about it pulling. But it's nice. I thought you would be.
No, I was too scared. So last time when I was there, I was getting my hair cut for CFL, and that's when I was still contemplating beard on or beard off. And they're like, "Do you want us to clean up the beard?" And I've never even done that before, let alone like take it off or a hot shave. And I was just like, "No." But then what they did do, I don't know if I talked about this in the air. The guy, he was such a nice guy. He's like, "Do you want me to wax your nose?" And I was just like, I think you could tell right away I was scared. Like, when you have your kid and you ask them, I think you could tell that I was scared. I was just like, "Oh, no, I'm probably good." And then he's just like, "It doesn't hurt that bad." And I said, "Really? So what's the deal?" And they just like put wax on 2 Q-tips and then put it in your nose, let it sit there for like 2 minutes. And then he's like, "Okay, boom. Okay, boom." And it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it was going to hurt.
Oh, you did it.
I did it.
Oh,
I
did
it.
Oh,
yeah, I did it.
Did you cry a little bit?
No, I didn't cry, but I will say, boys,
okay.
Right before he yanked him out, I think I might have pissed my pants a little bit. Because the place was packed. There's people waiting. I'm sitting there with these two, like I told you, he was a really nice guy. And the guy who runs that shop listens.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Dusty." I was just like, I said, "Well, I can't be a wimp here." I'm like, "Let's do it." And then right before they pulled it out, I was like, man, if this hurts and I scream like a child, I'm going to be extremely embarrassed. So no matter what happened, I wasn't screaming. But it actually didn't hurt as much as I thought it was going to hurt. Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thanks, man. That was the first time in my life I really sort of took a step of something I'm not used to. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I got
My nose hurt for like a day, like around the edges and stuff, but it's,
Could you breathe better?
Actually, I could breathe better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Wow. You went filterless for a while.
Yeah, basically. I was like, yeah. So anyway, there's that. Yeah, we do have a hockey game to get to tonight. Two Guys and a Goalie is brought to you by GS Construction. Sandman and his crew there set the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become a part of that team. Visit www.gsconstruction.ca and click Ready to Work, or visit their page at Indeed.ca. And with the Next Up Person program at GS Construction, it's not just a job. It is a career. That's the Next Person Up program. I think I said the Next Up Person program. It's the Next Person Up program. Hey, quickly though, before we get into the game, Father's Day. Cass, you got a new little treat for Father's Day. Tell the people will probably remember when you talked about yours for the first time. So
Yeah.
What'd you get, Cass?
I got one of those bug assault guns, and so it's like it shoots salt. You can use it inside the house. You can use it outside, and it's
house.
Oh, your house gets salty.
I like salt.
It's way more cool than using a fly swatter. Way more cool than using a fly swatter. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. And she even so the wife and the kids got it for me, and even got the laser sight for it. I don't think that really actually adds anything. Like I don't think
there's a laser sight.
Yeah, I wanted one, but I thought, you know what, that's a little much.
Yeah, not for this guy. Not for this guy. So yeah, I got it, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I was just debating last night. I'm like, should I open all the doors and windows? I'm like, where are
Just
the
let
bugs
them in.
at? Like,
Yeah, send a message.
Let them in. But so it was pretty fun. So I'm happy with that one. It's a good pickup.
So do you have to be close to the bugs? Like, does the salt not come out so quick it could like ruin your walls or something? Or
I mean, you can, depends on, like I was telling Cass how I prepare my salt a little bit. And
yeah, we were talking about like density and weight and
you want to shred the wings, right? That's the important part.
Okay.
Because and Cass, like I've only hit like probably 3 or 4 out of the air and saw them like spiral down to the ground, which is
that's cool.
So like I am so
like
happy
being in the army.
Oh yeah. So most of them is a slow stalk, you know, and getting up there. But you'll like I put some on TikTok or whatever, and actually the bug assault people reposted.
No.
It. Yeah, because I did hashtag because it'll blow them right off. Right. It's a phenomenal device. The best part of the year, and you know our friend Jesse Van Dolfsen, he saw my videos and he within a week he showed me a picture of his, and he just left all the doors open in his house, Cass. So that's and he just goes hunting, I guess, every night. But
could they kill a wasp?
That's what I'm getting to. So August is the best time of year because you get the barbecue going, tons of meat, you know, all the wasps come out. Oh, you go through salt like no business. And the best thing about it is you leave the food out, and if the wasp gets on there and you blast
You're just salting your food.
You're already salting the food.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is a genius invention.
Oh, and there's different ones too, but yeah, you'll have so much fun, Cass.
I'm going to have fun. Yeah. And it's got me, it's like, oh, now I got to, it's like, that'd be a great gift for my dad, like for the cabin, especially. I'm like,
cabin,
well, my dad likes to camp. He would love something like that.
They have a 6-shooter too with a CO2 cartridge, so you can.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Boy.
Are you like a 6-shooter handgun?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you got CO2 on that bad boy, I mean, you're not at like a 3 or 4 foot range. I mean, you're peppering that across the room.
Oh, just go to YouTube after all the shows here and after the game tonight, and go look at the Bug Assault YouTube page, and they've done like an old Western kind of thing to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I got a razor for beard, like a beard trimmer.
Oh,
doesn't sound as cool as it. Yeah, well,
No,
now that I'm very excited about it, but I mean, a gun would have been cooler.
Oh, that way cool.
But yeah, no, I got it. It has about 12 different heads that I can pop onto this thing, and it's a nice, like it's like silver. It's
That's good.
Yeah. So now, I mean, I'm fully in now. I'm going to be beard guy maybe for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Let's video some kills, Cass. I want to see.
Yeah, I'll have to.
It's
I'll have
hard to get.
yeah.
I kind of propped my phone up against the gun and did it. But.
You got to get like a phone mount.
Yeah,
So
well,
just
there actually is a camera mount for it, I think.
that doesn't surprise me. That's awesome.
This is insane. I love it, but it sounds so ridiculous to me. I really want to try to shoot one.
Oh, it's so good.
Really want to try to shoot one. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Over on the Nasty Chat on YouTube, you can chime in over there. We got a few other people who have those bug assault things as well. And if you're watching on YouTube today, smash the thumbs up for us and sub to Edmonton Sports Talk if you haven't already. All right, it is game day, but I do want to dial it back. We've not had two guys and a goalie since the last game. Cass, let's start with you, man. I mean, pretty flat for a game at home where you can go up 3-2 in a Stanley Cup final, wasn't it?
That's an understatement. Dusty, it's an understatement. Pretty flat doesn't have to describe it. It was downright awful. Downright awful. Like you had nothing. You had nothing. Like that looked, if that was a game and it was the middle of the regular season, we would have been like, oh, that was a real off night. Like can't have too many of those. That happens in the playoff. Like that can't happen in the playoff. How does that happen in the playoffs? In the Stanley Cup final? Like the zero desperation until the third period. It just wasn't there. It was just ugly, guys. It was ugly. And I won't lie. Like I've been spent the last couple of days trying to be positive and really fighting it. And I'm still fighting it. It's like, I'm terrified to see what team comes out of the gate tonight. Now they proved me wrong dozens of times this year. They proved me wrong many times this playoffs already, particularly in the first series. But guys, I'm nervous. Like that game was just pitiful. It was just pitiful. It was bad.
Gager, we were kind of texting over the weekend about the game too, dabbling in it ourselves. And I thought they had some chances in the first early.
Yeah.
And then it's just like
First time.
after that, it kind of went away. What did you think overall of their play?
I mean, like I said, I didn't think it, because I heard everyone talk about how bad it was, and actually watching it, I thought they have some chances. It's not like they're getting nothing going. But then I rewatched the second period again, and I thought it looked to me the Florida Panthers are doing what they've done to everyone else throughout this playoffs, and they're sapping the hope and desire out of teams. And I wonder. And like Cass said, they've proved us wrong, but it's going to be so hard. The dog walk today, I went through it and thinking about the Panthers lineup, like they have 3 number 1 centers on their team. You know, it's just the hill to climb. Not only do Connor and Leon have to have good games, like the best games essentially of their careers tonight. But in saying that, they could still lose against the Panthers
Even if they play a great game.
Yeah, even if they play, because Panthers score. It's not like they don't score. It's just, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit disheartening, and it's an unbelievable accomplishment to get it to this level. But I think they've just they've run into too much here.
Cass,
So
you think they've run
here's a
into too
question
much?
for you guys. Like,
Yeah, give it to us.
I don't know, but I kind of wanted to piggyback on Gager and follow up with this. And is a question for you guys, because so much of this has been the Edmonton Oilers' inability in this series to start on time.
Yeah.
Like they've had a few moments, you had the Draisaitl goal in the one. But as a whole, your first periods have been terrible. They've been terrible, especially the last couple games. Your first periods have been terrible as a whole in this series. Like why, and this is a big question, but why are they having such trouble starting on time in these games, regardless of what Florida's doing? Like, what's the problem here? What are you guys seeing? Like, why do they suck at the start of these games?
Don't you think they've been that way throughout the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this series, though, they've had some chances early in games, and after they don't bury them,
then it goes.
then it kind of just
Yeah.
goes. It's like they're like, we gave a push for 3 minutes, and then because I don't know what else it could be. I mean, I don't know how as a team you can have a reputation that just goes on and on and on as slow starters, and whether they're coming back from a break or they're starting the season or it's after Christmas or it's in this cup final. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, they just. I'm trying to gather the amounts of times at home or on the road where the Edmonton Oilers just came out in that first period and you were like, oh, they just crushed. And it happened a handful of times, but I don't think it's in their DNA to really impose their will on another team within that first period where they basically put the game away. It's just I can't really remember a time when there was a few games at the beginning of the season, but I think that was teams at the end of road trips and things like that where they just played their game. The other team just wasn't there. I don't think it was more the other team not showing up than the Edmonton Oilers just playing at a level that the other team just couldn't keep up with. And they have to start on time. You can't be chasing the game at this point anymore. They have to get the lead.
They've had to do that to win 2 games.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like it's.
But that's and I've said this before. I said this a long time ago. When I was at Perry Pern's 3-on-3 in the summers, and it was 07 after the 06 run, and I was talking to Sean Horkoff, and I go, "Well, what happened, man? You guys were rolling," and he goes, "It took so much for us to get back into that series, and just we just had nothing left. And if we would have scored, it might have been different, but we just didn't have enough in us to chase the game at that point."
Because that's a lot having to come back, right? You're just putting way too much on yourself.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially against good teams.
Yeah.
And at this point, obviously Florida's a really good team. So you're asking way too much. You're asking way too much to do that. Like it would, yeah. And that's why I'm terrified, guys. I won't lie. Again,
You're pretty worried. You're pretty like.
I'm pretty worried.
I said this morning, Cass, on the morning show. We were asked about it, and I said, there's one of 2 teams. There's 2 teams that could show up tonight for the Oilers. There's this team that wants to prove everybody wrong when you doubt them, and their backs are against the wall. And we've seen them play really good hockey over the last few years. If that team shows up, they could win. But as Gager said, if that team shows up, Florida might still just be too damn good. But if the team that's shown up so far in this series shows up tonight, then that's not going to be good enough. Unless you're going to pull off some sort of miraculous comeback again, which just doesn't. And it's just not reasonable to think you're going to be able to continue to do that.
You guys gave me a lot of optimism this morning listening. Like you guys,
we tried to have a relatively positive show.
I was feeling good, and then I went on the dog walk.
Damn dog walk killed you, hey?
It killed me. I started thinking about it in depth. I should have just stayed and listened to you. I should have just put it on repeat and watched it again. Then I saw Trev too, and he's a dark cloud.
He told me, he goes, Dusty, if I wasn't doing this job and they lost tonight, I wouldn't go to work for a week. Like he's very nervous.
He said to Benny, he goes, Benny, you might have to do the show tomorrow. You realize that?
I already told him. I said, no, you'll be in. I said, we need to have you represent all sad Oilers fans that I can talk off a ledge tomorrow. Mind you, if the game goes poorly, there would just be a bunch of ripping everybody. I would assume. We'll get to these line combinations from today as well. Some changes. Skinner's going to start. We'll get to all of that. But let me ask you guys this, Cass. What have you thought of McDavid and Draisaitl so far in this series?
They've just been okay.
Like okay by their standards, right? Like still better than everyone else on the team, but just okay by their standards.
Just okay. You have been outplayed ultimately. You have been outplayed by Brad Marchand, and you've been outplayed by Sam Bennett. And that's kind of it for me, right? Like they've been okay, but they haven't taken over or controlled the game. And I know it's like you Draisaitl, you get the winner. You know, that's a huge positive. You bury the OT goal, but they just haven't separated. Like, where are the moments that we've seen from Marchand? Like for Draisaitl and McDavid, they haven't been there. And that's not to knock them. That's not to say they're bad players. It's not to say they're not playoff performers. I think they are all those things. But as far as a head-to-head matchup this series, Bennett has been better. And Marchand has been better. And that to me is the bottom line. Like they've been okay. They haven't controlled a game. They haven't been too difficult.
There's been moments, right? Draisaitl's got a couple OT winners. McDavid had the assist, which was insane. And his goal was nice, but it was, they were on the ice for a goal against after, too. It's just.
But how many times, guys? So answer me this. How many times have those two felt incredibly threatening for a sustained period of time?
Yeah, like how many times have we gone off of a period and gone, man, those guys just dominated that period?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not. So Gage, is that on them, or is it just Florida's a really good team and they're just.
It's both.
Yeah.
But when you're those players, you have to find a way. That's why you're the highest paid guys in the league. That's what part of your job is, to figure out the defense, right? And Cass, like you're saying, it's not like you look at the point totals. You say, well, they're putting up points, but that's not it. The eye test is there's not enough of that extended pressure where they're, again, a threat on the ice every time. Like they're just non-threatening. They come in spurts, and there's moments of brilliance that sometimes equal a goal, or but for the most part of this series, they've been outplayed by the Florida's best players. And that's another thing you got to worry about. Like Kachuk's been good, but what if he has a game?
We haven't really talked about Barkov much.
I think he's so singular focused on just shutting down Connor and Leon. That's the beauty of Barkov. He's such a good defender, and the team is so deep, they don't even need him to score. He can just focus on shutting down Connor and Leon, which is a massive luxury.
Nice luxury there.
So here's the question, though, on that, Gager, is how much of that is, Barkov contributes, obviously, but how much of that is the Oilers' defense inability to get the Oilers forwards the puck cleanly? Because to me, that's what's doing it's not even like Barkov having to defend in the defensive zone. It's like Edmonton just never has speed through the neutral zone. And if they do, they're having to chip and chase. Like they're not entering the zone clean. They're not able to attack aggressively. Like how aggressive the Florida Panthers pinch, right? Because they're like a 2-1-2 with a full pinch almost all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a chance for their defensemen to pinch, they pinch. How many odd man rushes have we seen from Edmonton? And some of the talk from people that watch Florida way more than we did heading into the series was, hey, you might have a lot of odd man opportunities against them. And we have not seen that materialize. Like how much of it is Edmonton's, again, their defensemen's ability to transition the puck well under pressure?
You would think that they would have devised some sort of way to have that, that close support on the wall, chipping it out, hitting indirect passes and getting some of those odd man rushes. But then you see the coverage of the forward coming back when the defenseman pinches, right? The execution of the detail of the forecheck of the Florida Panthers, it is so hard. And you know what I don't like? It's bad enough how good their forecheck is, but when you see the Oilers, and I know it happens sometimes, but I find that they take the puck behind the net and their set breakout, it doesn't work. It just ends up to a bomb up to the far blue, to someone standing still to chip it, and nothing is gained from that. They would be much better served, I think, from just trying to carry them out themselves and try to get close support with a low forward or your defenseman and come out as a unit instead. Because this long pass, it's just playing into the Florida Panthers' hands. That's what I see in those plays.
Cass, I wanted to ask your thoughts on, so Florida is providing a lot of pressure, which is causing issues for the Oilers getting the puck out clean. You mentioned that the Panthers are running this 2-1-2 where the defense are totally fine to pinch very often. From a tactical perspective, from a scheme perspective, Cass, what adjustments can be made to either force them to not be as aggressive or to take advantage of their aggressiveness in some way?
Tape to tape passes in the defensive zone. Get the puck off the bloody wall. How about that? Right? Like that's, and they know that. Everybody knows that. Like you beat pressure by executing cleanly. Power play as well. Same thing. You beat pressure by executing cleanly, by not just rimming the puck around. Like there's been, and even Gager said, you're just firing up to the guy that's 2 zones away and hoping he has something. But if he doesn't have clean support, he's just having to chip it in. Because it like if you have, and you think about it this way, like if you have a 2-on-2 and heavy pinch, like so both defensemen are going to be under pressure. So you're not going to go D to D as often, right? Because you go D to D, the other guy's right in your face. You don't have time. So generally speaking, you have to find a way as a defenseman to get back, to try to get your toes up ice. And you have 2 options. Like if they're running a 2-on-2, you have 2 options. Option number 1 is up the wall. Now you go up the wall to the winger. Winger's going to be under pressure because that defenseman's probably going to be pinching. And so again, you move the puck up the wall, winger has to be ready for it. And that to me is where option number 2, and he also becomes the main option then for that winger, if you do get the puck to him cleanly, is the center support. Where is your center support? And this is what beating an aggressive heavy 2-on-2 looks like, is you have to have good center support. So either for that quick bump from the defenseman into the middle of the ice, because you think about it, if you have defensemen that are going to the wall to pinch and 2 wingers or forwards, the first 2 forwards that are pressuring the defenseman, so you're pushing kind of towards the goal line, that third forward, you kind of place in the middle of the ice because he's got to be the one, as you talked about, to cover if the defenseman pinches. He's the guy that's coming back, sliding through that as everyone else makes their way back. So he is going to be less inclined if you're able to move the puck to the middle of the ice on that breakout to try to push down into it, because then all of a sudden, if he gets beat, A, he doesn't have an angle. B, if he gets beat, now it's a clean 3-on-2 coming back the other way with 2 guys caught below the goal line. So you might have a 4-on-2 with the defenseman jumping in. So that middle support, that centerman getting low and being available is ultra important. And I don't think, and I've talked about this on the pregame show, I don't think Edmonton's center, so this would be a McDavid and a Draisaitl thing, I don't think they have done a good enough job of putting themselves in a position to make that pass. Now, the other part of it that I kind of alluded to is if the puck does go to the winger, well, that bump to the center then becomes a play of high importance, right? Because if you're under heavy pressure, yeah, you could try to just chip it, and if it's perfectly clean, maybe your centerman gets there. But if your centerman's low enough to avoid having F3 on the forechecking team press down on you, well, now all of a sudden you have some space, and you have some guys that may be a little flat-footed, and you may have a defenseman that's cheating in on the pinch. So that center support, low support through the middle of the ice is super, super important. But that's not something that McDavid and Draisaitl always do well, because they like to hit it with speed closer to the blue line. Yeah. Like they like to catch teams up at that blue line, right? Like where they don't necessarily dip deep down in the zone on those. Like they're already thinking like toes up ice, get up ice, move quickly. And so, yeah, me rambling a little bit. If I had a whiteboard, I'd start drawing stuff here for you. But I think to me, that's a huge issue with how they have, I don't want to say how they've coached it, but of what they haven't executed well is that centerman in particular being in a helpful support position in the defensive zone when they are under pressure. I don't think they've been good enough at it.
And I think a lot of times, Cass, is that winger on the wall that's getting the pass is so they're making the job easier for the Florida Panthers defenseman to pinch down on them because they're so high up. Like,
so the defenseman doesn't have to commit. So you're saying basically what we're saying here is the whole thing needs to shift back a little bit further in the defensive zone.
If that winger can collapse more, so I think both to the hash marks along the boards, that's a long ways for that defenseman to come and pinch on him, right? So you might get something there, but you also, like Cass is mentioning, is getting that center support. Whoever's playing there, if even if it's the first forward checker, can chip it either off the wall or to the middle and hit it with speed, because no D-man's going to be wanting to stand at the blue line if they see their forward checker in and the possibilities of Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl circling low and like getting a direct pass or an indirect pass with speed up to the blue line, right? They're making it, I think, too easy for the Florida Panthers to use that aggressive pinch by their defensemen. They need to be a little bit lower.
Okay, that's a really good breakdown, boys. I like just sitting back and letting you two guys talk hockey. I learned so much. I
just blacked out there. What happened?
You guys broke down a really good reason why they're not being able to get out of their own zone right now and how they Florida forechecks causing a bunch of issues. Let's get into number crunchers here, brought to you by Play Alberta. We do have a bunch of plays already up there. 4 plays for the game tonight, 4 different bets available on the EST specials page. 3 of them have been boosted. The one that hasn't been boosted was just Evander Kane to get a point tonight at plus 161. He's going to be playing alongside Leon Draisaitl. We'll get to the lines in the game in a second. But what I do want to go to for numbers crunchers, because we haven't had this conversation yet, is that Stuart Skinner will get the net tonight. He is 3-1 in his career in games in which the Stanley Cup is in the building. So that was, last year's comeback. So he's had some success in making sure that Stanley Cup was not awarded 3 times already. So Gage, your thoughts on going back to Skinner? Not sure if him being in net would have changed anything last game with the way that they played it anyway. And the game that he got yanked, they were god-awful in the first period. He was hung out to dry. So your thoughts on going back to Skinner and what do you expect from him in this game?
It's worked in the past. He's done this before.
Losing the net for a game.
Losing a net and coming back into a do or die. Did it last year against Vancouver. So it's familiar territory. And look, he's won a game in Florida before, too. A do or die game. So there's a lot of things that are pointing in the right direction. Now, the thing that he has to be is arguably the best player on the ice. Like, he can't be outplayed by Bobrovsky. He needs to make the saves that he's supposed to make and probably take away at least 3 or 4 as well. Because Florida's going to get their chances. They're going to get their looks. The only thing is, the Edmonton Oilers are going to have to play a sound defensive game as well. That's unfortunately, I don't think Stuart Skinner against this Panthers team can win a game by himself at this point. It has to be a team effort. But it's going to have to be his best game that we've seen Skinner play his whole career. Like he's just going to have, he's going to have one of those games, get into the minds of the Florida Panthers where they're trying to alter their shot selection or pass selection because they need to do something special to get the puck past him.
Cass, do you think he has to be like stand on his head all time good tonight? And because if he does, Gage is probably right. But if he does, that means to me that the team's not playing very well in front of him.
That means, that's exactly it.
Right? Like,
yeah. Well, that's why we're concerned, right? Because he might have to, with how this team has been playing. I think he's going to have to be really good early in the hockey game.
Yeah.
That to me is that's his first, we'll just call it the first 20. His first 20, he has to be spectacular. And
if that's the case, I do have faith in him to do that.
He can do that.
He's had some good periods in first periods to try to keep his team around.
Heck, he was great in that game he lost.
Yeah.
I thought he kept them around in game 5.
Yeah.
The first 5 or 6 minutes, I thought he kept them around.
4.
Or is it,
game 4.
Game 4.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thought in game 4 he kept them around the first 5 or 6 minutes. I think that is going to be it to me. And the reason I say that is because I think Florida is going to smell. They smell blood. They're at home. Like they're not going to sit back, and try to coast through this one and think that they just are going to win. Like they're going to push, and they're going to push early in this hockey game. Where I really feel like that first period is going to be so clutch. I mean, the second period is going to be so clutch too, as well as the third. They're all important, but I feel like he has to stand on his head for the first 20 minutes and then steady. Because I'm like, if Edmonton can play well enough, and if Skinner can play well enough to get that lead and to survive the first period, and really survive the first period to me is even or better in the first.
Yeah.
Like you come out of that first period, even or better, you're in a good place. And I think you're setting yourself
ahead
up.
of the game, Cass.
Yeah.
Like they're even or better. I mean, that's unheard of for this team.
That's unheard of for this team right now. But even or better, if you can do that, and Skinner has a stand on his head first, I think you can maybe hopefully settle into it here. So Yeah, I think you can win without him being otherworldly for the entirety of the game. If you need him to be, that means the rest of the team's just playing like garbage. But that's what we've seen, right, in the playoffs. That's what we've seen in the playoffs. It's that there hasn't been much in between. This team is not having in between. It's like it's all there or it's not there. And if it's not there, that means Stuart Skinner's going to have to steal you a game completely. If it's there for the team, well, then he just has to be good. So we'll see, and we'll see what type of team we get tonight.
Quick question on the goaltending, just because, we're on it now, so I'll get to this one. John B. just texted in. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for a sub to the channel. Tune in, iHeart, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can text us at 780-218-9999, but send the link to EST to your buddies so they can hop in on the fun here as well. If Skinner lets in 2 goals in the first period, change him. Gager, how would you approach a leash in a game like this?
It depends on the goals and how the game is going.
Okay.
I mean, if they're, dump ins from center going in, yeah. But
what if they're under fire again and he gets beat on a couple that he doesn't have a chance on, but you're down 2-0 and you're sitting there going, God, whether we believe in it or not, put Pickard in to get the team going because, like a classic goaltender mercy pull before, essentially, right? Do you approach that quicker than usual tonight because of the stakes?
So essentially you're asking, do you DeBoer him?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I mean, if the first 2 shots go in, I don't think you have a choice.
No matter what they are.
No matter what.
One-timers, back in,
I think you...
Straight up team wake-up call.
Call the timeout and you get the ship righted. And it's worked before, right? So I don't think you allow Stuart Skinner to try to get out of it and bring it. No, I just don't think I'd see Nobla doing that. It's all or nothing now, right? You have to find a way. You have the first goal is so important tonight. Like, I know I say that a lot, but just the way that the Florida Panthers play, if they get the lead, they will be blocking shots with every part of their body. Like it will be almost impossible to get pucks.
Well, and then there's Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky. Like the amount of layers that you're going to have to crawl tooth and nail through to get a shot on net if the Florida Panthers get a goal early is, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's going to be very taxing on the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh boy, here we go. We'll get to the line combinations here in a second. Let's get to some of your text messages. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Danny, my man, over on YouTube says, only 55 likes. Come on, folks. Hammer that thumbs up. Yeah, this has been a great show with hockey talk. Little bug assault stuff right off the top. But it's been a good one. So hammer the thumbs up over on YouTube. Mike in Thunder Bay is pretty much distraught right now. He texts in. Yeah, he texts in. This series has been the biggest letdown of my sports-loving life. Oilers haven't played to the level we know they can. They've been slow and lazy. The Oilers haven't had a game this series where I felt like they were the better team. I think maybe one period they have been the better team. So disappointing to see this effort after the run that they have been on. And then he follows it up with Game 5 was the most pathetic effort I have ever seen a team produce. Crazy when they keep talking about being a mature team. You can't be a mature team when you don't show up, when you show up like you did. And you know what? It is funny because I guess it was in that last series against Dallas when McDavid and Draisaitl were asked about defending. Yeah, they're like, hey, guys, we can defend. They've allowed 23 goals in 5 games in this series. And I didn't, as much as people will like to hate on Skinner, nobody's really hanging that on the goaltenders.
No.
In this series, right? Like maybe they, like
you can't really complain about the goaltenders. They've both, it hasn't been solely on them. It's the breakdowns defensively and good plays by the Florida Panthers too. But I mean, maybe you want to save here or there, but no, you cannot hang this on the goaltending of the Edmonton Oilers.
Cass, would you say the 23 goals against so far in this Stanley Cup final, is it around defensive structured play or individual breakdowns that are ending up in the back of their net?
Yes.
Both. That's how you get 23 goals against.
That's how you get 23 goals against. It's not any one thing. It's a combination because you have multiple things, and it's different. And that's what makes it tough with this series is it's different than when we look at LA, and particularly the first two LA games. Like those were just grade A, huge, just bad mistakes. A la Bouchard passing the puck out right in front of the net, right? Like just giveaways that were horrible. But this series is different. So two different scenarios. One would be the Marchand goal with Ekholm off the faceoff, where that's that type of play, just a bad play. Guy makes a bad play, bad read, right? And is unable to defend, and the puck ends up in the back of your net. But then there's the more systemic breakdowns. And for those, I'll use the example of pretty much every single goal on the penalty kill, where they have done little things, or just a couple guys doing little things in terms of sticks and lanes where they're applying the pressure that have enabled Florida to make some seam plays where the puck has ended up in the back of your net. So there's both. It really is both, and I hate saying that. But it's not any one thing. It's a combination of them, and that's where you give up that many goals in a series.
That's your number crunchers right now for Play Alberta. All right, let's continue here. It's Two Guys A Goalie. We are brought to you by GS Construction. If you're looking for work, GS Construction is not just hiring yesterday. They're not just hiring today. They're not just hiring tomorrow. They are hiring all the time. Check out their page in Indeed.ca, or obviously go to gsconstruction.ca as well. All right, as for these line combinations for a must-win Game 6 tonight, let's start with the guys who are drawing back in. Kapanen is drawing back in. Gager, what did you think of him coming out in the last game?
Puzzling. I mean, he wasn't. I think sometimes guys need a little bit of a refresher of why they were in the lineup in the first place. I'd expect him to be skating fast, finishing checks, straight lines, stops and starts. That's what you want from him.
Yeah. That was coming off a winning Game 4, though. That
if you watched his play, it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't where it was when he came in initially, I don't think. So, bigger body. It looks like Klingberg's back in.
Klingberg also is going to go back in.
Yeah, just you need someone who has a little bit more poise with the puck, a little bit bigger body, and hopefully can avoid the forward check of the Florida Panthers. Easier said than done. Yeah, I mean, this is I like the fact that those guys are coming back in. I think there's something there that are still there. Klingberg, if he can find some of what we saw in the last few series for 2 more games, I think that at least that's another thing that the Edmonton Oilers have in their quiver that they can use.
Guys, what do you think of Kapanen and Klingberg drawing back in here? Classic mute situation.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, it's been a while.
Yeah,
You've been doing really well.
Maybe it's a
good
sign. It's a good sign.
Good.
Yeah.
I've been so good. It was clear in my throat when Gager was talking. I didn't want to ruin it. I like the Klingberg Stetcher. I mean, Stetcher wasn't playing a ton. And you brought him in. You were hoping that it was going to be the nurse whisperer again, that you'd be able to split up those guys and they're able to play really well. But I think you bring in Klingberg and hope that does a little bit better about not running into officials in the corners, which has hampered him this series, as well as just being able to actually effectively evade off the forecheck. So, yeah, I mean, that one to me is kind of okay. I think they did the Arvidsson and the Kapanen swap with the hopes that Arvidsson would step in and that he'd have a night, right? Like that he'd be buzzing, his energy would be there. He would be playoff Arvidsson from last year in terms of tenacity and doggedness on the puck and just frustrating in front of the net and in the corners. But the team just never really could get rolling. And I don't necessarily blame that on him or on his play. I mean, it was everybody, but there was just nothing there. And so he didn't give you what you need. And last time you had that same type of feeling from a team standpoint. You brought in Kapanen and he was absolutely buzzing. Like he had a fantastic game. And so I think you're looking at this going like, okay, well, we do know that he is a player that can bring some buzz. He can bring some energy. He can bring some forechecking capacity. And he's last time he was out of the lineup and came back in, he seemed to give us a little bit of an emotional lift. So you're maybe hoping that he can do the same thing again.
The other thing that actually concerns me by this group is that Nurse and Kulak are together, and those guys have
they have not been good.
That's probably been, I think that's been their worst defensive pair so far in the playoffs. So you're gonna need a big game from them.
That's another guy that I usually, I mean, I think he's a great player, but he hasn't been the playoff Kulak yet. You know?
Yeah.
Where you just see him take the puck. What did Broberg do so well against the Florida Panthers last? I hate to bring up his name, but he was able to avoid the forecheck, right?
Yeah.
With one step. And Kulak has that ability.
Kulak can move like that.
Yeah. And that's what it kind of, it's almost there. You need that one step to avoid. If they can get to that level, you know, where they can get past that first forechecker and skate with the puck and then make the play, instead of starting from a static point all the time. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure it's going to be a look a little bit different, but Naba doesn't want to, he's not going to change everything for one game here.
This text is in. No handle on this person yet. They've texted him before, though. But boys, they've got this. They know that their effort was inexcusable in Game 5. 97-29 will drag this team to a win and drag the Cats back to Berta. Nothing else matters but win, baby. Oilers take Game 6. Friday Night Lights in Ice District. Game 7. Stanley Cup Final. LFG. So there we go. I like that guy. The whole, I mean, if they win tonight, the rest of the week, this city is going to be insane.
Yeah.
A Friday night Game 7 at home for a chance to win a Stanley Cup. From an organizational perspective and from a fan base perspective, I don't think you could have possibly drawn it up any better if you actually go and deliver that dub on Friday if you get there.
Cates is making a fortune.
Oh, my God. I do want somebody to do the math on all of it later on. Like, I want that Oilers revenue report from the playoff run.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine?
No.
Oh, man. All right, this is interesting. This was from Stats Center. I don't know if that's a TSN thing or what. Anyway, playing determined to avoid a fifth straight loss in a Stanley Cup final series. Cory Perry's goal in Saturday's Game 5 has him at 10 in these playoffs. It's also the 9th in a Stanley Cup final game since turning 35 in 2020, moving him one away from breaking a tie that he currently has with Rocket Richard.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So these are Stanley Cup playoff goals from the age of 35 and up. Cory Perry's at 9. Rocket Richard's at 9. Gordie Howe's at 8. Brad Marchand's at 6. That's pretty much just this series. John Beliveau's at 5. Mahavlich is at 5. And Mark Recchi is at 5.
Wow.
So Cory Perry about to become the all-time leader in Stanley Cup final goals post-age 35. With that being said, he's lost 4 Stanley Cup finals. Can you?
No.
God.
That
sucks. At least he's won one. Can you imagine if he hadn't won one?
Yeah, that's the
he's
only
lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, this is tough.
God.
He gets there.
Yeah, I mean, he'll help a team get there. And I think he's been their third best forward in the series so far. And the other two are McDavid and Draisaitl almost just by default because of what we expect from them.
Yeah, that switch when he took Hyman off the power play and put Perry out there, that ignited him, I think.
Ignited Perry.
Yeah.
Hasn't done too many wonders for the power play, but at least Perry's doing his job.
Yeah.
Well, Perry isn't the power play issue right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. What is the power play issue, Cass? Let's wrap with that. Too much of the same?
At time, yeah. Forcing it. They're just forcing it. They're trying to force things that aren't there. They're not taking the available play. They're trying to force plays.
Oh, I want to get to this one too. Paulie Deuce is in. I see somebody over in the chat asking for the code for Play Alberta. It is EST Sports. Just EST Sports is the code over there. $20 deposit, get $50 free bet. Paulie Deuce says, guys, what are your thoughts on the pregame skate story today with Verhaeghe and the rink crew in Florida? Did you guys?
No, I didn't.
Okay, Cash, you probably
I didn't see
okay, so the Florida Panthers were skating on one rink. The rink that the Oilers would usually skate on, and their skate wasn't until 11:30, but some of the guys usually go out early. Carter Verhaeghe was by himself with a coach over on that rink shooting pucks. And the Oilers wanted to go on, and they're like, sorry, Verhaeghe's skating here. And then, so the guys who usually want to go on early couldn't go on early. The Panthers rode it for a while. Then Verhaeghe got off. And then the Oilers were waiting, and the rink crew was like, oh, no, we got a flood. And the Oilers like, no flood. Like, we want to get on right now. So what do you guys think as players? This is where we'll wrap. What do you think of the mind games the Panthers are playing with the Oilers here a little bit morning of a game 6 where Florida could possibly win a cup?
Perfect. Both playing the game. I love it. A little extra motivation on one side, another person
trying to get in their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So show them.
Hey, it's part of it. It's part of it. I'll throw you back to junior. So this happens in the NHL too. You want to tell me that this doesn't happen in the NHL too? It absolutely happens. Like, oh wait, sorry, we haven't had time to vacuum out the dressing room yet. So there's rocks everywhere and gravel, basically on the floor. We got the old like having to, and it's happened every single time playing in Kelowna. Every single time when I was in Kamloops, because they're your rivals, only a couple hours away, right? You can't stand each other as a team. You go to get some Gatorade, and the Gatorade would taste like bleach. Oh. And like, we must have not rinsed it out. Like, we'll get you some new Gatorade. And so then the Gatorade's gone, but you're not getting it.
Bleach?
Well, it's like you couldn't. It's like you'd gag, you'd sip it, and you'd just be like, bleh, like have to spit it out, and then have to redo the whole thing. But they wouldn't bring it to you then for like another hour and a half, right? 2 hours. Like, oh, we'll get it to you, right? But you don't get it for a while. Turning up the heat in the room if you have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
I do that to my buddies on my golf trip too. It's funny.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, yeah, just messing with each other. But that's part of it. I mean, that's the mind games, right? You're trying to do that. You're trying to do that sort of thing. So, and well within the rules. And that's just the thing, is they're not necessarily breaking any rules. It's like, well, yeah, typically the team's off the ice, but technically from a time slot standpoint, if it's still Florida's ice, they can be out there as long as they want. Now, the second that they're off, you probably can go on, right? Because they're done. They're finished. But yeah, you have another guy out there. He wants to take some shots, wants to be around a little bit. Yeah, it's how do you deal with it? You just gotta let it roll. You gotta let it slide. And then when they're back in your building, do the same thing to them. That's kind of how it has to go.
I would take bleach over my old trainer in Cape Breton, Murray Stevens. I'd go in there, he'd have a smoke. There'd be cigarette ash going into the Gatorade while he's watching NASCAR and stirring it with his arm.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's how we end the show today. Jeez.
Yep.
What's coming up on EST Afternoons, buddy?
Of course, we're gonna get you ready for Game 6 here. Derek Van Diest at 1:20. We'll get some maybe some words about the morning and see how it goes. Heat and Smoke 1:40. Zach has prepared something special for us. Inside the Numbers at 2. We'll go over Knobs presser, some NBA, CFL, and then get you ready for Reed and Jay.
What's the prediction, boys?
Unfortunately, I think
it's done tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna see a 50-person parade.
Cass. Oh
no!
Cass just hung his head.
I can't. I don't know.
You know what?
I don't know.
I'll say this. Backs against the wall. I think I'm going to ride with McDavid and Draisaitl one more time.
There you go.
And then we'll see what happens. All right, that is going to do it for Two Guys and a Goalie, brought to you by GS Construction. If you're looking for work, good news, because they're looking for you. For Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage, I'm Dustin Nielson. EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gager and Ice Cube coming up here right away. Stick around for that. And thank you very much for being here on Two Guys and a Goalie today. I'll next talk to you tomorrow morning. One way or the other, it's a hell of a show. Let's see how it goes.